Historic Élysée Palace in Paris is the setting for important two-nation talks. French President de Gaulle with German Chancellor Kurt Kiesinger and Foreign Minister Willy Brandt agree on a policy toward Eastern Europe. The two-day meeting brings mutual accord on moves toward friendlier relations with Iron Curtain countries. The ultimate aim is for the reunification of the German nation. In Rangoon, Burma, UN Secretary General U Thant hosts a ceremonial meal for Buddhist monks during his first visit home in 3 years. After meetings with North Vietnamese representatives, Thant predicted that unless the U.S. unconditionally halts bombing the North, the war would be prolonged and bloody. A Moscow street is the site for a rare public appearance of former Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev on his way to cast his vote for the man who helped oust him, Premier Kosygin. It was the first time in 9 months that Mr. Khrushchev walked among the people he once ruled, and they showed their affection. A royal reception for Britain's top mini model, whose professional name is Twiggy, real name Leslie Hornby. The 17-year-old Cockney girl is accompanied by her boyfriend manager, Justin de Villeneuve, who fielded most of the reporters' questions. Not exactly voluptuous, Twiggy stands 5 feet 6 inches and weighs 91 pounds. Her measurements 31, 22, 32. Her 2 fondest wishes to meet Cassius Clay and visit Disneyland. Outside the district court building in the nation's capital, Teamster boss James Hoffa surrenders to U.S. Marshals to begin serving an 8-year prison term for jury tampering. With his raincoat covering handcuffs, Hoffa arrives at federal prison in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. He said his attorneys would continue his fight while he's in jail. Parole is possible in 32 months. At $100,000 annually, he's the nation's highest paid prisoner. Hysterical Chinese battle with police outside Red China's diplomatic office in London. Brandishing baseball bats, iron bars, and axes, the group charged the bobbies after an argument over moving a police car. Officers defended themselves with their wooden truncheons. The clash followed a week of heavy police guard outside the legation after the sacking and burning of the British diplomatic office in Peking just 1 week earlier. Injured were 3 policemen, 3 Chinese, and a cameraman, none seriously. Mutual travel bans exist in London and Peking, and a brief interview produces a flood of propaganda.
Would you like to tell me how you're spending your bank holiday weekend? Are you staying here the whole weekend? Would you like to translate?
Down with British imperialism!
Yes, of course, but did you enjoy the bank holiday weekend?
In a surprise move, New York Republicans choose James Meredith, civil rights figure. He opposes Adam Clayton Powell, the excluded congressman, in a special election. Harlem citizens generally voiced anger toward the Columbia University law student. Powell dismissed him with, "Meredith who?" On Capitol Hill, controversy surrounding a congressman comes to a head. Hundreds of Negroes demonstrate in support of Harlem Democrat Adam Clayton Powell, who was removed from the chairmanship of the Education and Labor Committee. Later, he was denied his House seat, pending an investigation. Powell commented, "Today marks the end of the U.S. as the land of the free and the home of the brave." In Georgia, the state legislature settles the November election. First, the popular vote had to be certified, since neither gubernatorial candidate, Lester Maddox, nor Howard Callaway polled more than 50% of the total. The lawmakers finally choose Segregationist Maddox as their new governor. The former restaurant owner, who gained national publicity by refusing to integrate his fried chicken place, ran on a platform of states' rights and preservation of the race. Meanwhile, back in Washington, Vice President Humphrey congratulates the freshman senators of the 90th Congress. The group includes Charles Percy of Illinois and Edward Brooke of Massachusetts. Brooke, at the far right, is the first Negro to be elected to the Senate since Reconstruction days. A round-robin hand clasp for America's newest senators. One-time child movie star Shirley Temple Black announces her candidacy for Congress to fill the vacancy caused by the death of Representative J. Arthur Younger. She adds she'll run as a Republican independent, and her announcement includes a strong attack on the Johnson administration. In the 30s, the curly-haired, dimpled child actress captured the heart of America and the world with her pixie-like charm. Her smiles, tears, dancing, and singing brought her fame and wealth. Today, the 39-year-old mother of three sets out to join two other former stars in politics, Governor Ronald Reagan and Senator George Murphy. World-famous cellist and composer Pablo Casals begins his 90th birthday by attending Mass. He is greeted by the Archbishop of San Juan as he arrives at Our Lady of Mercy Church near Casals' home on Isla Verde, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Only a few intimate friends were invited to the morning Mass, which included music composed by Casals and played by Puerto Rican pianist Jesus Maria San Roman. During the service, the Archbishop spoke with high praise of Casals, the man, musician, and humanitarian. Later at his home, Happy Birthday to You was sung to the master cellist in both English and Spanish. Scores of wires and letters were received, including one from President Johnson. The world toasts an immortal of music, Pablo Casals. President Johnson receives a standing ovation from Congress, which was called to a special joint session to hear his State of the Union message. The President proposes a 6% surcharge on taxes lasting 2 years to be used in the poverty program at home and to finance the war in Vietnam.
I have come tonight to ask this Congress and this nation to resolve that issue. To meet our commitments at home and abroad, to continue to build a better America, and to reaffirm this nation's allegiance to freedom. I recommend to the Congress a surcharge of 6% on both corporate and individual income taxes to last for 2 years, or for so long as the unusual expenditures associated with our efforts in Vietnam continue. I will promptly recommend an earlier termination date if a reduction in these expenditures permitted. This surcharge will raise revenues by some $4.5 billion in the first year.
Voters turn out to pick a new French National Assembly. Incomplete returns indicate continued control by President de Gaulle. The Gaullist coalition won almost 40% of the total vote. Frenchmen presumably heeded de Gaulle's plea for an assembly that would support his policies, stressing stability at home first and foreign politics second. The president's ballot is cast. It is one of more than 23 million throughout the nation. The old warrior seems to be a sure bet to remain the undisputed master of France until at least 1972. In downtown Madrid, the Church of Santa Maria is the site for a new era of religious history. For the first time in Spain, Catholics and Jews pray together. Max Mazin, Jewish leader, speaks at services marking the passage of a law giving non-Catholic denominations religious freedom in Spain. Father Alvarez shares the pulpit, pointing out the kinship of Catholic prayers and Jewish psalms. The law was hailed as a harvest from the seed which Pope John planted in the conscience of mankind. Operation Pershing on the Bang Son Plain in South Vietnam. A major offensive drive by U.S. 1st Cavalry soldiers determined to seek, find, and rout a huge Viet Cong force from the area. A small village gives up enemy suspects who use grenades, automatic weapons, and landmines to slow the advance of American cavalrymen. Unfortunately, peasant villagers were caught between the retreating guerrillas and the oncoming U.S. forces. As a necessary precaution, the village is put to the torch so that it cannot be used again in the future as a base of operations for the VC. Many of these rural settlements have been bought, cowed, or persuaded to give aid and comfort to guerrilla groups. Residents here will be relocated in a new area. Victory is tempered with mercy for the civilians. A U.S. field hospital gives treatment to several women and children, tragic figures trapped by war. Apollo astronauts Roger Chaffee, Edward White, and Gus Grissom lose their lives in a tragic flash fire aboard their grounded space capsule. The tragedy occurred during a simulated countdown for the first flight of the Apollo program, whose goal is to put a man on the moon by 1970. Grissom and White were veterans of spaceflight, Chaffee a rookie. During a drill similar to this, the entire three-man crew was engulfed by flames. A blue-ribbon panel of space experts is investigating, aided by impounded NASA films and tape recordings. Grissom was one of the 7 original astronauts. White was America's first spacewalker. Chaffee, never in space, had long experience as a jet test pilot. He was proud and happy that his first flight was to initiate the Apollo program. When the tragedy struck, one of the astronauts shouted, "Fire in the spacecraft!" In a few seconds, all 3 were victims of the swift inferno which left the capsule a blackened shell. One reporter said it looked like the inside of a furnace. Investigators theorized that perhaps a short circuit or electrical overload may have sparked the blaze. 27 would-be rescuers were all overcome by smoke and heat. Apollo astronauts Chaffee, White, and Grissom, martyred heroes who gave their lives in total dedication to duty. Their memory will forever be honored. Mass demonstrations continue in South Vietnam, protesting stepped-up Viet Cong terrorist acts, peace feelers by foreign politicians, and reports of an exile government allegedly established in Paris. Particular targets were French President de Gaulle and U.S. Senators Fulbright and Robert Kennedy for publicly urging peace talks now. A 2-day top-level strategy conference with South Vietnamese leaders brings President Johnson to Guam, where he's greeted by government dignitaries and a huge crowd of islanders. Retiring Vietnam Ambassador Lodge and his successor Ellsworth Bunker, along with General Westmoreland, are included in the welcoming delegation. Premier Key greets the President and Secretaries Rusk and McNamara. The allies reaffirmed their commitment in the Vietnam War. Later, Hanoi discloses its rejection of a previous offer of direct negotiations with the United States. The Guam talks end, and American officials predict more of the same in the Vietnam struggle. Heavyweight champion Cassius Clay goes through the final stages of training for the defense of his title against Ernie Terrell. A rugged sparring partner tosses some heavy leather at the champ, forcing him to give ground. Experts predict that Terrell will prove to be the toughest opponent for Cassius so far. Clay's draft board says he could be drafted in February. 2 appeals for deferment have already been turned down. Gaseous Cassius rattles off a bit of doggerel verse for the challenger, Terrell.
He's going around claiming to be the real heavyweight champ. But after I'm finished, he'll just be a tramp. Now, I'm not saying this just to be funny, but I'm fighting Ernie because he needs the money.
Ernie's answer will come in the ring at the Houston Astrodome. In Los Angeles, the first Super Bowl game puts the Packers against the Chiefs. First quarter, Packers ball. After a 6-play, 80-yard march, quarterback Bart Starr connects to Max McGee, and Green Bay is first on the scoreboard. Kansas City stays in the game on the arm of Len Dawson, with good protection, he hits Otis Taylor on the Green Bay 6. Dawson rallying his AFL champions from behind, passes to Curtis McClinton for the tying touchdown. 7-all. Before the half, the Packers' power on the ground shows itself. Star running back Jim Taylor, behind good blocking, sweeps his left end to score. At the half, Green Bay 14, Kansas City 10, after Mike Mercer kicked the field goal for the Chiefs. This first meeting between the champs of the NFL and the AFL produces plenty of thrills. The turning point in the game. A Packer blitz forces Dawson to rush his throw. Willie Wood picks it off and gallops all the way to the Chiefs' 5-yard line, where Mike Garrett makes a touchdown-saving tackle. But the Packers can't be stopped. Elijah Pitts takes it over and puts Green Bay out in front 21-10. Another Star and McGee touchdown pass. The Chiefs bound to the Packers 35-10. A super debut for the Super Bowl. Distance runner Jim Ryan of Kansas University, now second, shows his stuff before a hometown crowd of 10,000 track fans at the 39th annual Big 8 Championships. It's the mile event, and Ryan has set his sights on the meet record. The 19-year-old Jayhawk sophomore steps on the gas and laps the entire field, opening up an incredible lead on this 12 laps to the mile track. Winning time 3 minutes 58 and 8/10 seconds, a new meet record, and his fastest indoor mile of the year. Another sure harbinger of spring, Grapefruit League activity. In this case, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Outfielders Jim Fairley and Willie Crawford work out preseason kinks under admiring glances. The Tokyo Giants pay a visit for a preseason exhibition contest, while Dodger manager Walt Alston is the perfect host. With Los Angeles batting, the action is swift and steady. The Dodgers come out on top, 6-2, and it's easy to see that Alston enjoys.
Manager Red Shandies gets together with Bob Gibson, his starter, in this decisive 7th game. Jim Toomey, the Cardinal publicity director, is on hand early, and so is the great Stan Musial, now the St. Louis Cardinals general manager. Boston pins all its hopes on Jim Loudboard, who will pitch with only 2 days rest in the head-and-head duel of the two pitching aces. In the Cardinals' third, Dal Maxfield opens with a smash off the center field wall. And Maxfield sprints into third with a triple. After 2 outs, Flood is up, with Maxfield still on third. Loudboard pitches, Kurt lines a single to center, and Maxfield scores the game's first run. On the next pitch, Roger Maris grounds towards first, and the ball gets past Scott for a single to right field. And Flood races around to third. With Cepeda at bat, Loudboard breaks a wild pitch into the dirt, and Flood scores. In the Boston fourth, with 2 out, Bob Gibson still hasn't allowed a hit, and he fans Harrelson. It's his 7th strikeout. Newsmen from all over the country and even from overseas are here for the World Series. With 1 away in the 5th, Gibson hammers a long drive to center. The ball lands on a ledge just to the right of the flagpole. It's a home run. Homers aren't unique for Bob, but this is his first in the World Series. St. Louis scores again in the inning and leads 4-0. George Scott leads off in the Red Sox 5th. Scott leans into one and crashes the ball off the wall in center. As it caroms away, George goes in the third with a triple. But Javier's relay throw is wild, and Scott scores. It's the first hit as well as the first run for Boston. With Shannon and McCarver on base and the Cardinals' sixth, Santiago is warming up in the bullpen. Julian Javier comes up with none out. Lonborg bears down, but Javier slams one to left. It's a home run, and Yastrzemski just watches. It's the 13th home run in the series by both clubs, and this one is a crusher. McCarver and Shannon score ahead of Javier in a joyous parade that gives St. Louis a commanding 7-1 margin. Javier gets a big reception from his mates. In the Cardinals' ninth, Lou Brock is in there again for his 7th stolen base of the series, a new record. Carl Yastrzemski leads off for the Red Sox in the ninth and gets a standing ovation. Gibson has a 2-hitter and a 7-2 lead as he faces Yastrzemski. Carl smashes a single to right field. That brings Ken Harrelson to the plate. Gibson delivers and Harrelson hits a grounder to short. It's Maxfield to Javier to Cepeda, a double play. Now, 1 out from victory, Gibson makes a supreme effort and Scott strikes out. The Cardinals win. They're the new world champions. And Bob Gibson, with his 3rd victory, has brought them through in the decisive 7th game, even as he did in 1964 against the New York Yankees. It was another spectacular series, with the Red Sox fighting their way back after being down 3-1, with records shattered and glittering heroes on both sides to underline once again that for sheer drama and thrills, the World Series is unmatched anywhere on the sports scene.
These girls have shown up for a heavy audition date. Scale busters all, the chubby charmers hope to be chosen for an upcoming show saluting the famous Beef Truss gals, elephantine beauties who sang and danced. A series of soft shoe routines test the techniques of the heavyweights, who are surprisingly light on their feet. Some display large fringe benefits from top to bottom. Ads which eliminated those under 200 pounds drew some 20 tons of hefty hoofers. Wow. In Egypt, they have a national problem which has everyone tossing and turning. Cairo's belly dancers are tossing their tummies while everyone is turning his head to watch. A special demonstration of agitated abdomens is held to determine whether or not Egypt's 2,000 stomach soloists will be allowed to return to their traditional scanty costumes. The final decision can be no snap judgment. That's why the city censor arranged this performance. The girls claim their naval maneuvers reveal less than the local beach. Anyone for a swim? In spring, a young man's fancy lightly turns to thoughts of his annual college vacation and the exodus to Florida. Some 40,000 students are expected because this is where the boys are. And where there's boys, there's girls. Local law officials are on guard against the riots of a few years ago, but only time will tell. Already a canceled street dance led to arrests, and the students wound up stealing the judge's gavel. A pet show in New York brings out some very special pets, including this cheetah named Last Savage. Pavlovian training turns this duck into an entertainer and a threat to Carmen Caballero. It's even enough to worry Liberace. Would you believe a basketball-playing chicken? Well, how about a chicken basketball player? Of course, he's no Wilt Chamberlain. Since he's already equipped with drumsticks, why shouldn't he be the Gene Krupa of Duckland? And this wild chick is a great dancer. She likes to neck, too. A cheap date, just a couple of kernels of corn as your only expense. Put one duck on piano, the other duck on drums, let the chicken dance, have them all grow long hair, and presto, a new group. 2 quacks and a cluck. In London, at the Carlton Theatre in Haymarket, it's the evening of the royal world premiere of Charles Chaplin's long-awaited film, A Countess from Hong Kong. Douglas Fairbanks and his wife are among the first-night celebrities, who also include co-star Tippi Hedren and singer-actress Lisa Minnelli, Judy Garland's daughter. The glittering premiere benefits the Fight for Sight campaign. 8 members of the Chaplin family attend. Mr. Chaplin wrote, directed, and composed the music score for the film. His son Sidney is a co-star in the Universal release. Marlon Brando, who stars in the picture, flies in from Hollywood, while the royal family is represented by Princess Alexandra, cousin of the Queen. Tiny Susan Buck gives her a bouquet. MCA Board Chairman Jules Stein on the right is co-founder of the Research to Prevent Blindness Foundation, which will hold a gala charity benefit premiere of the film in New York in March. Top French couturiers show their new summer fashions. Included is the Jacques Heim 2-piece gabardine suit, featuring oversized pockets and a half belt in back. Lanvin's Arab-type trousered evening dress is called a Lulu, the obvious understatement of the year. A 1901 vintage automobile sets off a Dior dress and coat of heavy sacking material trimmed with leather. Accessories include a safari-style felt hat with leather chin strap. Maggie Roof's white organdy dress is called Baptême. Bouffant sleeves give a fresh, airy look. Last but hardly least, a long evening beach dress by Pierre Cardin. Fastening high at the neckline, it drops low in back. Fashion's guaranteed to fill a man's eye and empty his wallet. At the Bochum Planetarium, an observatory station in West Germany, designers show futuristic space-oriented fashions suitable for the best-dressed ladies in the year 2000. It really doesn't matter where the lady establishes residence. These styles presumably will be in on the moon, Mars, Venus, or even that quaint old-fashioned planet, Earth. From her jumbo earrings to her tiny feet, this charmer displays what might be the perfect casual outfit for catching the weekend rocket shuttle to visit friends in any of the outer space suburbs. Seems like a real fun crowd. Looks like there's a method in their modness. At Acapulco, a lavish dinner party attracts a wide variety of celebrities, including Linda Bird Johnson and her actor friend George Hamilton. Film star John Wayne enjoys the festivities, while Mexican movie actress Dolores Del Rio and her husband are also among the famous guests. Linda and George refused to comment on speculation about a future wedding, while they spent the gay evening as almost constant dancing partners. A request to have the press barred from the party was refused. Hamilton changed partners only to dance with their hostess, former film star Merle Oberon. New York's Criterion Theater and the dazzling world premiere of Universal's star-studded Technicolor musical Thoroughly Modern Millie. Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet arrive, along with a number of easily recognized celebrities. The gala premiere is a benefit performance for the Museum of the City of New York. Universal President Milton Rackmill and Mrs. Rackmill are among the film industry leaders in attendance. The long-awaited premiere is one of Manhattan's major social events of the season. Actor Kevin McCarthy escorts Susan Stein. Millie recalls the delightful days of the 20s, complete with flappers, songs, and dances with a hilarious story. Beloved Beatrice Lillie, one of the film's co-stars, helps to make the evening one of Broadway's biggest nights. Another First Lady of the theater, Ethel Merman, arrives with composer Jimmy Van Heusen. His songwriting partner, Sammy Kahn, waves to the crowd. They wrote Millie's original song. Composer-conductor Elmer Bernstein, who did the musical score for the film, gets an enthusiastic greeting, while star Mary Tyler Moore provides one of the many electrically exciting moments as she arrives. The lovely brunette plays an orphan, Miss Dorothy Brown. Carol Channing, another of the picture stars, is escorted by Broadway producer David Merrick. British actor James Fox is Millie's male lead, unveiling his talent for comedy, songs, and dances. Producer Ross Hunter arrives with Mrs. Nancy Sinatra. First-nighters and the critics agree that the film is a total winner, acclaiming all of its stars, including Julie Andrews in the title role. Thoroughly Modern Millie is a thoroughly delightful smash hit. Florence, Italy, recently devastated world capital of art and sculpture, returns to the spotlight of high fashion. Italian designers unveil their spring and summer lines. Lydia offers a softer silhouette. Meanwhile, Ilaria concentrates on knits, including woolly tights and tunic outfits for the off-season skier. Wild abstract patterns and a riot of color schemes are this designer's trademark for '67. Formal gowns by Valdicavera win applause in the superb setting of the White Ballroom in the Pitti Palace, once the court of the Medici. A fashionable preview of autumn and winter styles by publicity-conscious couturier Jacques Esterel. Rhapsody in Black features matching black knickers and boots just for openers. Again, the ubiquitous black boots with gaucho-style pants make our model look like a peach from the Pampas, complete with traditional hat. For after dark, an ankle-length evening dress with fitted bodice and waist. The candy stripes look like a barber pole, nice and curvy. Designer Esterel takes personal pride in uncovering another dramatic evening outfit. A gaucho jumpsuit, cut daringly to show a lot of Milady's lovely back. Perfect for waltzing, but no twisting or tickling. Another black and white outfit with the Argentinian influence adds a special matching handbag which looks like a cage. And it is. Suitable tenants, a bird, or even a little white mouse. Esterel, a cagey couturier indeed. Show-A-Rama, sponsored by the United Motion Picture Association, singles out actor Don Knotts for the Family Favorite Award for his performance in Universal's The Reluctant Astronaut. Knotts, popular with the public and the motion picture exhibitors of America, is saluted by the assembled showmen and called a giant, beloved screen image. The gathering also points out the fine quality of upcoming films for release this spring and summer.
On your feet, boy. I mean now.
Got a name, boy?
Virgil Tips.
Virgil. Where you come from?
There ain't no trains this time of morning.
I could have had you shot. Skull's caved in, man.
Could have been a hitchhiker.
Okay, I got him.
Where's my husband?
I thought I told you to get the hell out of here.
You aren't taking me anywhere, you dig?
You gonna get yourself killed.
I'm a police officer.
Look, they pay you $162.39 a week just to look at bodies. Why can't you look at this one?
Why can't you look at it for yourself?
I do not want that Negro officer taken off this case.
I need a few things, such as ammonium hydrosulfide, benzidine, superoxide of hydrogen, copper powder, distilled water, calipers, and some toothpicks.
Why won't anybody here tell me what's happened to him?
Are you sure you're pregnant?
Yes, I am pregnant.
I can pull that fat cat down.
I'm afraid you're a little late, Virgil. We already got the guilty man.
May I examine this prisoner?
Yeah, you can look at him. Come on, let him look.
He's left-handed, isn't he?
What's that make him?
Innocent.
I got the motive, which is money, and the body, which is dead.
You're holding the wrong man.
But don't you push me, boy.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
What kind of people are you?
$1,000 to pay for an abortion.
They've got a murder on their hands. They don't know what to do with it.
In the heat of the night, seems like a cold sweat creeping off my brow.